Kerri Rankin Thoreson, and we came to Coeur d'Alene. I like to say we were on the first boatload of Californians to discover Coeur d'Alene in the mid-1960s. And actually, it turned out to be just a wonderful place to grow up. My family lived on 9th and Sherman, so we were downtown people. We lived in a beautiful historic home that had belonged to John T. Wood, famous doctor and Idaho congressman, but living in downtown Coeur d'Alene, unbelievable. It was a little cooler than Mayberry RFD. We had a lake, but it was a wonderful growing up experience, and it's still very nostalgic. One of the great things about this large house that we lived in had a wonderful front porch, and everything happened on Sherman Avenue. You know, all the older kids that were driving, cruise Sherman Avenue. So my girlfriends and I, we loved to sit on the front porch and wave at the boys when they drove by in their really cool cars. And even today, during Coeur d'Alene, some of those same guys that were cruising Sherman as teenagers back in the 1960s, still cruising Coeur d'Alene, and a lot of them still own the same cars that they had back then. Well, I had an English teacher at Coeur d'Alene High School, Mrs. Johnson, and I was on the newspaper staff, and she was my English teacher too. And I told her one time, I actually said it out loud, that I really wanted to run a newspaper. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wanted to run a newspaper. And she told me, you can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to. And many years later, in 1990, when I was the publisher of one of the Hagedon Communication weekly newspapers, Mrs. Johnson came in to see me and said she was reading my editorials every week and assured me she was not doing so with a red pencil. I'm a writer. I'm a teller of stories, and I do it in print, and I do it on the radio, and I tell people stories. I feel just genuinely blessed to be able to shine the light on so many good people, interesting people. Oh my gosh, the stories of people here. And for me to be able to make a living telling these stories. But this is a really exceptional community. Step up whenever there needs to be, step up to celebrate on the 4th of July, step up when there's a tragedy in the community. It just is, it is a special place, far beyond the lake and the mountains. All you need to do is attend a 4th of July parade in Coeur d'Alene and look up and down the street and look in the parade, and you really will see the heart of this community. It's, the people are even more special than the scenery.